I'm Claire, and this is my mate Anna. 10 years ago, Anna and I drove a Ford Fiesta 10,000 kilometres from the UK to West Africa. We'd bought it off eBay for less than £250. We had no service history and almost no mechanical know-how. The West Africa we saw is a different one now, and today's politics would make this trip a challenge to repeat. Our breakdowns were outnumbered only by adventures, and we got way more mileage from our car than we'd ever hoped for. 10 years later, this is our story.
Hello.
Hello!
Where are we, Claire?
We're in a tunnel. Well, no, we're not. We're in a train. Going to France.
Where's the light?
The light went off, but it was blinding me.
No. Look at this.
Not one, but two. Wonderbar. That's much more exciting than car freshener. And it's pink. Oh, scores.
Smells of wood lemon. Mm-hmm. Right, so we're on the ferry. No, we're not on a ferry. We're on the train.
We're on the train. We're driving to France across the English Channel. Gonna get a bit cold and wet, but it'll be alright.
Beautiful car.
Yep. We're starting out in snowy England and ending up in the desert in Africa.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just a few hours before we drove our new eBay purchase onto the Eurotunnel for France, I'd picked up Anna from Heathrow Airport, where she'd flown in from her hometown of Stockholm in Sweden. I was already in the UK, having flown into Exeter on Christmas Eve during a blizzard. I'd picked up the car and started the drive to London without actually checking the oil. It would take us until Morocco to discover that it was dangerously low. But I digress, because for now we were off to France, and our first stop would be Tours. When we got to Calais, it was cold enough for Anna to repurpose her mittens as socks. We then discovered our handbrake mustn't be working, since it had been on the entire time. But who needs a handbrake anyway, right? Besides, we had more important things to occupy us for the drive.
So, what's that there then?
Trying to calculate
What are you trying to calculate?
the time difference in the free fall of the bungee jump in what the fuck's the name? The highest one?
Storms River.
South Africa
Versus? Yeah.
The Victoria Falls one in Zimbabwe. So we're trying to find terminal velocity and the speed of free fall and see the time difference. How many seconds you're actually free falling and what's the difference is. We're doing this over the map of France.
Yep.
And we just hit Bordeaux and we're on our way to Tours. So obviously we're going to hit Rouen first, then Evroux, then go past Alicon, Le Main, and where the fuck is Tours? Yeah, from Le Main we hit Tours.
Nice.
And tomorrow it's San Sebastian.
Cool.
Nice.
If we'd only actually unfolded the map, we'd have discovered that we were not going straight to Tours, but rather taking a pretty lengthy detour instead. We were supposed to be staying with an old friend of mine, but the darker it got, the more we realised we'd be arriving at an ungodly hour. Once Anna put those math skills to use and calculated a 1 a.m. arrival for us, we resigned ourselves to bargaining for a hotel instead.
So we're trying to hit Tours tonight. See how that goes. Gross. It's been like this for ages.
Only about 200 kilometres more of it to go! Woo! But finally, very late on Christmas night, we arrived in Tours.
Nice long johns.
We're right in. Ooh, sexy.
Oh,
We're in Tours.
nice turban. I like it.
We only just got here and we managed to bargain this room down to €40 rather than €58. So I'm going to jump in the shower.
Leave the long johns on.
After a few hours' sleep, we saw Tor briefly in the company of Coralie, who we'd accidentally ditched the night before. We were aiming to get to Bordeaux in time for lunch, but anyone who knows Anna and I understands that we're suckers for a good pastry, so Coralie made sure we were loaded up for the drive ahead. At this point, we'd only owned the car 2 days, and weren't yet familiar with all its little quirks. We knew that it didn't have a radio, and we'd discovered its lack of handbrake the day before, so we started getting more acquainted during our drive.
Wait till I show you the features of this amazing car. Sunroof.
That's a bit of a drop. Have you opened the sunroof?
No.
We then also discovered that we had no wiper fluid to clean our filthy windshield, something that wouldn't be hard to fix were we not driving 120 kilometers an hour. Since we didn't want to pull over, Anna decided to get creative and try to catch some of last night's snowfall as it blew off the roof of cars driving in front of us, and found a target to start trailing.
So Anna, who are we tailing there?
White car ahead. There's snow on this roof. That would clean
Dirty windscreen, because it's frozen up.
It's frozen, nothing is
Let him
there.
go. The sneaky bastard keeps changing lanes. It's impossible to catch him.
Really needs that.
Anna, I just noticed back windscreen wiper is still going.
After a few hours, we rolled into Bordeaux with just enough time to stuff ourselves full of food and hit the road again. We were pushing to get to San Sebastian over the border in Spain, so settled for making lots of baseless assumptions about Bordeaux and French people in general from what we could see out of the car window instead.
It's a pretty town, it's a pretty country to drive through.
And the people here look French.
They look very French. Look at that dude.
He's looking pretty French.
Hat.
Look at that hat.
Gotta
You can't
French.
be not French with a hat like that.
No.
Moving on. As we left Bordeaux and hit the Pyrenees, the car started wobbling excitedly every time we tried to slow down on the downhill. This would turn out to be our rear brake drums giving out, and we started to lament our lack of handbrake after all. But we had finally made it to Spain, and we will meet you there in the next episode.